I have attempted to tell the story of Mystified, my main music project, many times and in many ways. Whenever I try to apply too rigid a frame to the story, I lose interest and stop writing quickly. In synopsis, Mystified was a largely ambient drone act that lasted from 2002 to 2017. It was a solo project of myself, Thomas Park. Over the years, it grew to over 5,000 pieces of music and sound works, representing one of the largest collections of original audio ever created by a single person. The whole story seems too tedious to tell, so what can be listed as some major achievements? The very beginnings of Mystified involved a collaborative effort with Robin Story of Rappoon fame. Robin used some samples I selected and created the Robin Story Transit remix. This appeared alongside some mixes I made by using Robin's sounds on the album Music for Transit, self-released 2003. Music for Transit was sold by consignment on the popular catalog Soleil Moon Records. It was released a number of times and at one point remastered by Ben Cox of Spotted Peccary Recordings. Mystified had lots of early success in the net label scene and remained popular on various net labels throughout its career. The earliest net releases established a dark, moody sound, often evocative of urban scenes, created using industrial samples. Examples of this period would be Transient, Dreamland Recordings 2004, and Cardboard Hotel, Webbed Hand 2004. In 2005, I attempted to create a long-form piece that was as minimal as possible without being difficult to listen to. I was pleased with this result. I called it Constant, Webbed Hand 2005. Constant was very well received. It became the inspiration for dozens of other Constant pieces by various other artists. Christopher McDill of Webbed Hand Records, himself being a musician, was a big influence on me. McDill offered some important advice at pivotal moments in my career. One such notion was that I start using my own sounds. I took McDill's advice and recorded a series of samples with a mini-disc recorder. These sounds were presented either directly or mixed in various ways in some of Mystified's very successful releases, such as South City Spring, Tree Trunk 2006, Reduced, self-released 2006, and Nocturne, Tree Trunk 2006. The use of my own samples helped to propel Mystified for a time into the noise scene. I frequented the famous Tronics bulletin board and had scores of releases on tape and CDR, as well as net releases. My kind of noise usually involved processed field recordings and/or shortwave radio samples. Compositions were often relatively mild and simple in structure. I created enough music in this period to appear in a retrospective, The Mist Box, Svartgau 2009, a metal container holding 25 individual 5-inch CDRs, each with distinct album of material on them. In 2007, I acquired a copy of the Baron's master soundwork, the soundtrack to A Forbidden Planet. I was so impressed that I spent many hours straight creating my own tribute to Forbidden Planet, Royal Noise 2007, which was regarded as one of my more accessible releases. Having crafted quite a few minimal drone works, I tried applying basic looped beats to them. I was known for this juxtaposition of complex ambient backdrops that featured simple sequences and beats in the foreground with little melody. A good example of this type of release was Endless Flutter, Bumpfoot 2009. In 2009, I was approached by the proprietor of a German record label. I was asked to create a release for vinyl, which became Mystified's well-regarded blue vinyl LP, Pulse Ringer Pieces, Drone House 2009. The album's shimmering, bittersweet drones appealed to many listeners. Though Mystified was met with mixed reviews, the project steadily grew in scope and notoriety. I took this very seriously and continued acquiring better technology to use while creating my music. A series of releases showcased a higher fidelity sound, such as Secret Tapes Remastered, Tree Trunk 2011, which included recordings of the voice of President Lyndon Johnson, and Adventures of Plunderman Remastered, Tree Trunk 2011, which used loops I harvested from vinyl records. Two phenomena happened at pretty much the same time. Christopher McDill challenged me, having learned that I knew how to play the trombone, to purchase a new horn and to use it in my recordings. I did so, and what began as the famous Bone Drone series, starting on Webbed Hand in 2011, expanded into being a larger influence in developing works, leading eventually to Epic, Spotted Peccary 2012, a major release in which musician Shane Morris applied my treated trombone sounds to sculpt drone works with a prehistoric theme. At about the same time, I became known for being able to create dark, evocative drone tracks using almost anything as source material. Examples used were a recording of the Star Spangled Banner outtakes, Tree Trunk 2012, old recordings of polka music, Polka Drones, Tree Trunk 2012, primitive examples of yodeling, Yodel Drones, Tree Trunk 2012, and spherics, or atmospheric discharges from the Earth, Earth Waves, Earth Mantra 2010. I courted a more professional career by working with labels such as Data Obscura, Hypnos Secret Sounds, and the aforementioned Spotted Peccary recordings. The folks with Spotted Peccary were particularly encouraging, allowing Mystified to work with Shane Morris on the Inspired Evolution trilogy, with Epoch, Spotted Peccary 2012, Emergence, Spotted Peccary 2013, and Evolution, Spotted Peccary 2014. These releases had a dark, raw, electroacoustic quality, quite unusual for the label. Some were better received than others. I worked briefly with a very popular dark ambient label, Cryo Chamber. My solo release on Cryo Chamber, Escatul, Cryo Chamber 2014, was very different for the label, containing experimental loop constructions. It received mixed reviews from critics. I gradually fell out of favor with the label's proprietor, but did appear on the first 3 Mythos-themed collaborative releases, Cthulhu, Cryo Chamber 2014, Azathoth, Cryo Chamber 2015, and Nyarlathotep, Cryo Chamber 2016. Additionally, a mix I did of various Cryo Chamber tracks, the dark ambient background music mix, was very well received on YouTube. Due to some personal changes, my perspective on music changed at about this time. I met a nice woman, got married, and eventually moved into my first home. Mystified took a back seat, or at least a side seat. Releases became higher in fidelity and often displayed a sense of humor, such as K-Tel Hits, Tree Trunk 2015, and Secret Ops, Tree Trunk 2016. Mystified's extremely prolific nature eventually resulted in a gradual loss in popularity, and I was aware of the response. I continued writing less seriously. I returned to some older ideas, reworking them for a climactic release, Morning City, Spotted Peccary 2017. In Morning City, I combined some of the earlier photographic recordings and drones with newer instrumental and other sounds to create a fresh and moving electroacoustic work that the critics really liked. When Morning City received a tepid popular response, I felt that it was time to put the wraps on the Mystified project. I officially moved from the role of composer to that of archivist. Shortly afterwards, Robin Story released another remix using some of my sounds in his long-form drone work, Grassland Stream of Electric Sheep, Tree Trunk 2017, which was commissioned to be played in the listening room at the Abraxas Arts Center in Augsburg, Germany. My musical achievements as Mystified were many, but I will perhaps be best remembered as a popular and generous experimental net label artist, with literally hundreds of releases given away for free consumption, and hundreds of thousands of listens and downloads.